Hurricane Katrina, now a Category 5 storm, said the man on the radio. That's the strongest there is. Winds 175 miles an hour. Waves will be 20 feet high. It's aiming right for our beautiful city, right for us. This is the storm we've been fearing. It's time to leave. Time to get... Mom switched off the radio. Okay, she said softly. I heard you. We're leaving. Who are you talking to, Mom? Barry asked. She looked surprised to see him. Sorry, baby, she said, turning and kissing Barry on the cheek. That man's getting on my nerves. She had 3 coolers arranged on the floor and was filling them with food for their car trip. Are you worried? Barry asked, brushing some flour from Mom's sleeve. She'd been baking all morning. Not at all, she said, but Barry could see she was fibbing. Mom always baked when she got nervous, and she packed enough muffins and cookies in those coolers to feed the saints. We're almost ready, right? She asked. Barry nodded. He helped Dad board up the windows. He carried the porch furniture and Cleo's princess house into the shed. Need anything else? Find your sister, Mom said. She hasn't been herself all morning. I need you to work some berry magic on her. Barry found his sister crying in bed. What is it, Clee? He asked. My princess house, she wailed. That lady took it. What lady? Katrina. Barry tried not to smile. In that 3-year-old brain of Cleo's, Katrina was probably a big fat vampire lady flying through the air. Your princess house is safe in the shed, Barry said. And Katrina isn't a lady. It's just a bunch of clouds. We're not afraid of clouds, are we? Cleo looked at Barry with her huge, teary eyes. Barry always got a soft feeling in his heart, like the purring of a little cat, when he looked at his sister. Good thing he wasn't a superhero. One look at a crying Cleo, all of his powers would be drained away. We're having an adventure, Barry said. You can't cry on adventures. Cleo gave a big sniff. Will Akivo be there? She asked. Of course, Cleo knew all about Akivo. For weeks, anytime Barry told Cleo a bedtime story, he made Akivo the star. Who rescued Snow White from the evil stepmother? Akivo. Who saved the 3 little pigs from the big bad wolf? Akivo. Now Barry put his face closer to his sister's. I think Akivo will be waiting for us in Houston tonight, he said. He hated tricking Cleo, but it wasn't really a lie. Akivo was always appearing in Barry's dreams. Maybe Cleo would dream about him too. To react us? Retract us. Oh, that's right, Barry said. He'll protect us. Cleo gave another big, messy sniff and then nodded bravely. I won't cry, she whispered. She held out her arm so Barry could pick her up. He pulled her close. She put her head on his shoulder and let him carry her to the car. 10 minutes later, they were on the road. They sped through the lower 9 and crossed the St. Claude Avenue Bridge. They drove just past the bakery where Mom had worked before Cleo was born. She learned how to make Barry's favorite caramel cake there. Mom's dream was to open her own bakery. They didn't have the money for that now. But one day, Mom always said, one day. She said those words so often, they became the Tucker family motto. Dad grabbed Uncle Dave's hand. You take care, Dad said, and if you change your mind, I'm right here. Uncle Dave said, I already told some folks, don't go to the Superdome, just come to Lightning's. I have my generator and about 1 million hot dogs to share. We'll keep that in mind, Dad said. Uncle Dave put his hands on Dad's shoulders. And I better see you this Thursday for the show. Dad laughed and started up the engine. Let's hope. Isn't it a bad idea for him to stay? Barry asked. Once they drove away. This neighborhood doesn't usually get flooded, Dad said. It's a bit higher than the rest of the city. And let's face it, if anyone can keep a hurricane away, it's Dave, Mom said. They sped toward Interstate 10, but the closer they got, the heavier the traffic became. And soon, the car was standing still. Barry opened his window and stuck his head out. The line of cars and trucks stretched as far as he could see. The hot and sticky air stunk of car exhaust. Dad clicked on the radio and punched the buttons until he found a traffic report. The news was terrible. Cars were backed up for hundreds of miles on roads leading out of the city. "This will take all day," Mom said softly, reaching into the cooler and taking out a blueberry muffin. Dad patted her leg, and Cleo fused, and Barry tried to distract her with one of his stories. An hour went by, and the car didn't budge. Dad had to turn off the air conditioner so the engine would not overheat. Cleo whined and moaned and finally fell asleep, hands over his face, which made Cleo scream more. Mom unhooked her seatbelt and scrambled into the back seat, and Dad rummaged in the glove compartment and found a wad of napkins. Mom started to wipe off Cleo's face. "This little girl is burning up," Mom said. Barry reached over to feel Cleo's forehead. She was boiling. "What's wrong?" Barry asked. His heart was racing. "I'm sure she's just got a bug," Dad said. "She'll be all right." Mom gave Cleo a sip of water. "It's okay, baby," she said. "Just try to settle down. You'll feel better soon." But Cleo threw up, again and again. She screamed so loudly people in the other lanes peered out of their car windows. Mom and Dad looked at each other, and Barry understood exactly what they were thinking. There was no way they could get on the highway with Cleo that sick. Sure enough, Dad pulled out of the line of traffic and pointed the car towards home and the hurricane.